What up, and welcome. I'm Matthew Msengati, the designer and developer. This is my YouTube channel, Coded Design, where I teach graphic design and software development. In this video, we are discussing DRY, Dry Principle. I was watching a movie the other day when a man approached a woman and said, "Let's get back together," to which the woman answered, "I don't repeat myself." What does that mean? I don't repeat myself. As in real life, it is even in programming. Repeating yourself creates a situation whereby you are solving one problem over and over and over again. What's the problem with that? You don't grow, you don't develop, and at most you're gonna be frustrated because you are solving one and the same problem and your brain is tired of that. So let's put this into perspective, into a programming or software development perspective. The try principle prevents that. It avoids a situation where you are dealing with the same problem over and over again. It might happen that it's in different location or multiple parts of your app or your software or your code, but however, it's still the same problem. So the try principle encourages a technique or a certain paradigm, a certain way of thinking, where you take a certain instruction or group of instruction, you put them in a place where it is accessible, so that all other parts and functions of your app or all other modules can make use of that function, because in a way they all use the same function. The same function works in all modules and it works the same way. Let's say you've got, for some reason, you've got a group of instruction for changing the background color of a container or of your website or of a page. In whatever stage of your development or in whatever page, whenever you want to change the background color to a certain color, you can use that function. So the try principle is so helpful. You must drill it into your mind. It has helped me in a lot of things. So now, in front of me here, I've got an accounting system that I'm developing. It's more like QuickBooks or Sage One or whatever. It's just an accounting system. So in this accounting system, I have struggled with my file paths. So as I was developing this app, I've just noticed that I always misspell some parts. As a result, it always gives me errors, because now the file path that I think I am redirecting my system to, because of I've forgotten a dash or an underscore or a dot, then it creates an error because the system doesn't find the file. I always get an error that file does not exist, or the class has not been declared, because the file that contains that class cannot be accessed. So I have used the try principle here by making sure that I have got a class that contains a list of all my files and directories, so that I don't have to always manually type my file paths or file directories. So let's just jump to Visual Studio Code and see what I mean. Okay, this side I've got the index file as an entry point to my application. As you can see, I'm just gonna jump all other instruction and get straight to the essence of the video or the lesson. Okay, so here I've got a new class location. I'm creating a new class location. I'm injecting it here as a dependency because the app class needs this dependency. It's gonna use this class. Okay, what is this class? Here is this class definition locations. Class definition locations, and then as you can see, in its construct function, it has got some sort of I've even here written a comment assigning all app folders. So it has got an associative array that contain all the directories, all the folders, pointing to all the all the strings that are pointing to all the folders in my app. So for instance, the associative array, it's directories. So directories has got root directory, and in that root directory I am assigning the root directory according to the server. So meaning that this variable, or this key root dir, will always have a root directory according to the server. Let's say for some reason we've decided to put the root folder, to put our application in a different root folder. So what we're gonna do, we're just gonna update the root directory on a server, and when it comes to our application doesn't really care much about what the details of the root location, but as long as the server is aware of that, our application can continue to work. Okay, which might be a different approach than this one that might cause a headache. It's when this application, it's when this class it's when this class when in this class, when I'm inside that class application, where I have to manually type the root location, where I have to always type it. So instead of typing it, I'm trying to apply the try principle, put it in a variable, making sure that it's accessible globally, or I always inject it, as I have done here. I've injected it into the constructor of that class application, so that the class application may use it. So if I want to change, then I always go to one file, which is location, and make changes here. Okay, going forward and drilling down into the try principle, as you can see here, I've got the app directory. However, the app directory consists of the root directory first, and then the app directory. So meaning that if I can make changes on the root directory, that doesn't affect the app directory. Let's go to the class directory. As you can see, the class directly, the class folder, makes use of the app directory, which the app directory make use or is a child of the root directory. So how does this makes my life easier? How is the try principle helping me here? Let's say for some reason the app folder has changed from, let's say, app to application. So this will make my life very easy, because I'm just gonna go to that associative array here, and then I'm just gonna go here where I'm saying app dir, app directory, then I'm just gonna change it to application, and then my application will run, because I've applied the try principle. I didn't got into a situation where I repeat myself. Meaning, if I was repeating myself, first of all, I was not going to have this class that contains all my location and also this folder. So that will mean that I was gonna depend on typing those folders or those root files or those root folders manually. And let's say that application root or that application folder, I have used it maybe in 99 locations in my application. Now it has changed from app to application. So that will mean I have to go to all those locations and change it manually from app to application, app to application. However, the other challenge might be, now it's not easy for me to know instantly or on top of my head where am I using that directory, that app directory, then it will make things difficult. So when I was doing my diploma in software development, my lecture used to talk about good programming practices. That was it. Then we didn't get into solid principle, design patterns, and also dry principle. Now, when I first saw the dry principle, what popped in my mind was those good programming practice. At that point in time, she was mentioning things like your variables need to be meaningful. Like if you want to create a variable that will store the age, why the variable name will be cats and dogs or cities, that's confusing. So your variable name needs to relate to its content, or the content that it's holding. So it was just good programming practice. So dry principle, it's a very good programming practice that you must try to drill it into your mind so that it can make your life easier. It doesn't only apply in PHP or backend or whatever. I have just noticed the same thing happens with HTML and CSS. For instance, CSS has got some variables. If you look at this interface, we've got this color and this color. In my CSS, this is the primary color and this is the secondary color. It's a variable. So whenever I want to use that color, I don't manually type it, but instead I use the variable primary and I use the variable secondary. So meaning that if I would like to change, let's say, the colors, the theme of the application, I will just go to that variable and change it in one place and it will be updated everywhere. So what can we use as a detector to so that you can not repeat yourself, so that you can be aware, you can be alert? What I would say is that as you are coding, just look at the instruction or the code that you are writing. If there is some sort of hunch or a feeling that this code might be used by other modules or by other function or by other classes, then that's the right time to make sure that you implement the dry principle by doing what? Maybe just like in my case, if it's just like paths and directories, create a class and create a variable where you will put all your directories so that you don't have to type them manually. If it's a group of instruction, then make a function. If you see that it's a group of related function, then you can create a class. Otherwise, that is it for me, Matthew Msengati, the designer and developer. If you think this video has added value into your overall understanding of the dry principle, please subscribe.